All right, Doc.
All right. Hi, Doc. I'm in need of some advice and information in regards to a current problem I have. I've been on a cycle of test enanthate 300 milligrams and trinenanthate 200 milligrams twice a week injection Monday and Thursday of 1 ml each for 16 weeks. Wow, okay. While on cycle, I was taking tamoxifen 50 milligrams each day.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, I just completed a PCT of ACG 5,000 IU, 3 shots per week, and did a total of 3 boxes of 5,000 IU. I also have been taking Clomid tablets of 50 milligrams. I feel like my desire for sex is low. I'm also not getting my normal erections as I was before, even during cycle. Please, could you advise as to anything I can do? Regards, Wasim. Yeah, I guess my best advice would be to wait. Give it some time, because if you're literally writing at the time you're including this information in an email, then you got to give it some time, because if you're taking that much trinenanthate and testananthate each week, you've been carrying a titer from, I mean, if you do the math, we'd have to do the math. If you look at the half-life of these, and roughly if we're looking at an anthate, we're probably talking about a week's half-life, 7 days half-life, and terminal half-life is roughly 5 times that. 3 weeks later, I think that's what he's saying here, 3 weeks later, you could still have some of this in your system. Obviously, that's affecting your body's endogenous production. So things are still going wonky, to use a technical term, this closely after coming off a cycle like that. And I would argue that most of it's probably from your lack of endogenous testosterone production, but that's an awful lot of tamoxifen, right? Have you ever seen any guys in the gym doing that?
Is it 10 milligrams each?
10 milligrams a tab.
So
most I usually see is 20 a day. Yeah, that'll block. Remember, you're not trying to. You could have lots and lots of estrogen in your system, but you still have the same limited number of receptors, and all you're doing with a serum like tamoxifen is blocking the receptors. So more is not necessarily better.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's tamoxifen has a relatively short half-life. But bottom line, I think it's too early to say one way or the other that things have gone awry from what you did. Libido, it might take anywhere from, again, it depends on your age. There's so many factors, but anywhere from 3 months to even 6 months before things get normal again.
Really?
Depending upon your age. And ditto for erections, but that opens up a whole nother can of worms. How many reasons are there for not getting whatever normal erections are to Wasim? Age and what you did for the last 16 weeks. It says here, doing that protocol, was it all weightlifting? Was it powerlifting? Was it Olympic lifting? Was it bodybuilding lifting? Hypertrophy lifting? And so many other things he was doing. Things that might or might not affect the nitric oxide synthase in the blood vessel walls. And again, is this gentleman 25 or 65?
Yeah, we don't know how old he is.
Yeah, there's so many issues that are at play here. But again, with just 3 weeks, it sounds like, if you do the math here, it sounds like he finished the cycle up 3 weeks ago. Or you argue, yes, cycle 3 weeks ago because he did PCT for, PCT for 3 weeks? That's pretty short PCT. It's an aggressive PCT for sure, that in part can make up a little bit for the lack of time on PCT.
How long should PCT last, would you say?
Everybody's different, but what I like to do is make it as easy as possible. If someone tells me, hey, Rand, I'd like to come off of TRT for whatever the reasons. It used to be more often than not fertility reasons. Hey, I want to have a child now. I'll ask them to let me know as soon as they know. Hey, when do you want to do this? And we can start 6 weeks, maybe just 3 weeks, before they either get off of T altogether or start to taper it off at that point with ACG in a relatively high dose to, again, get those diesel engines, those testicles up and running again, so that when they decide to go off completely, either cold turkey 6 weeks from that, or tapered from that, if that makes sense. They've been on ACG for a little while longer, and then you say, okay, the testicles are up and running. Let's pull those, and as the testicles start to drop off again, let's wait for that gas engine, the pituitary, to jump on board and start sending a signal and keep things going. It tends to smooth that process out so guys don't just, keel over from the lack of energy, and keel over lack of erectile function. This tends to smooth that out a little bit better. But everyone's different, and it isn't always a guarantee that it'll be smooth. Chronicity of use, how long they've been on TRT and their age are big factors into how well that works and how much lead time you might want to start using the ACG before you start to pull the T, the exogenous T. And versus when you finally say, okay, I'm going to stop the ACG on the other end of that. Factors involved. Clomid's not a bad idea either. We mentioned before that some people have negative side effects to that particular serum, but everyone's different. If he didn't have bad side effects, I would argue, again, first thing I'd ask him is, hey, have you tried Clomid before? And if you did you have side effects like this? Or if you didn't, maybe it's because of the Clomid. Why'd you go off the tamoxifen and change to the Clomid? They're both SERMs. Granted, one does work differently than the other, but why would you change? So it might just be he's having some issues with the Clomid alone. There's just too many factors. And again, if I had to put my finger on one to start with, give it some time. It's awfully early yet from just stopping to say, hey, everything's supposed to be back to normal again.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Doc.